My mini great-grandmother, Melody, is beautiful. Her eyes are huge, dark, and laughing in her smooth, light brown face, and she is muscular, even a bit wiry, but most fibers, 5/4, 125 years old, are. She sits cross-legged next to me on the jump rock, a coral arc rising like the back of a dolphin in Waima Bay. Her wings, nearly invisible, overlap slowly across her back. Overlap smoothly across her back. Mammoth winter waves rise from the sea and break in perfect translucent curls. No one is jumping off Jump Rock today. Those waves crash against and spray up the sides of the rock and swirl around the bottom. The tow skis are busy pulling surfers out to where the curls begin, and 30 or so surfers sit on their boards bobbing up and down. Acres of white foam with an undertow deep and powerful enough to drag strong men to their death suck at the beach. It was like that, Aliyah, says Melody. The change, like a wave, and we are still on it. We, the entire human world, could have been smashed like that foam from a lot of convergent factors. Yeah, that's what everybody says, the Dark Ages. Melody mentions the change a lot, but not much about how it happened. Maybe getting her to talk about it will soften her up. This is one way to go about it, but maybe there is no good way. I've never been able to manipulate her. She has an unfair advantage, being older, smarter, and a mentor. I'm just hoping she'll understand me, understand why I want to see her, and help me. I want gills. They're not like fish gills, but that's what everyone calls them. You make it sound like a war. It was a war. It was even called a war. Back then, that kind of language seemed the only way to mobilize people. In the early 21st century, we were feeling like a pretty successful species, but we were sowing the seeds of our own destruction. Mass starvation, the breakdown of civilization, the loss of information was a hair's breadth away for those who spoke the language of chaos theory and statistics. The history of humanity was the history of war. Most people viewed the idea of world peace with tremendous suspicion. They believed it could only exist in a world where extreme submission was the byword, or if some essential bit of humanity was crushed to dust. Rarely was it seen to be a state of balance in which the highest capability of humans, to be freely creative, would be possible for a huge percentage of people. And if they saw it that way, they saw it as a danger. War defined humanity. We used wealth to amass munitions and armies. It seemed necessary because nature really is, as Darwin said, red in tooth and claw. War was our particular sickness. It always seemed inevitable, something we had to return to despite our horror and reluctance. It's hard to believe. There's been a fundamental change in how we communicate and how we see ourselves. Back then, everyone could easily relate to the idea of being at war. The war on poverty, the war on cancer, the war on illiteracy. What's cancer? Right. What's polio? What's tuberculosis? What's smallpox? If you want to be a physician, I want to be a world champion surfer. You can be both. If you want to be a physician, that was one career you modeled, remember? You need to study the history of disease, and in the early 21st century, illiteracy was classified as a public health problem. That freed us to bring a lot of different resources to bear on solving the problem. Now, she wrote me in and I had to go along. What caused it? Lots of things, but maybe we were just going through adolescence as a species. Maybe our stubborn adherence to warehousing children in schools or in poorer countries, sending them to work or outright selling them, might not have crashed civilization, but willful ignorance about how humans learn, based on scientific evidence, wasted billions of lives and their potential. World economies were in a tailspin. People were mostly very rich or very poor, very healthy or slated to die young. It just wasn't working. There was an illusion among the well-to-do that it was working, but it wasn't. She caresses the gill pattern I have tattooed like an ancient Polynesian hieroglyph on my right cheek, a scream for independence, for control over my own body. Your mother says 18. Why do I have to wait? You need to help me. Mom will listen to you. Look, out there, JJ has gills. See, she's the purple one. Wow, pound it. I scan the vast undertow and see her pop up, so tiny in that big sea of white foam about 100 yards away. See how much fun it is? I see. I'm 14 and she's only 13. I'm already way behind. Look, what happened to you? You were 12, 13, right? When you got changed, it was radical, eh? Scary as gills, and look at you. So you called me here to advocate for you. Her smile is teasing, and I'm pretty sure that I have no hope. Still, I push. I know I could be a champion. I came in second in the girls' division, natural, last year. But to go big, you really need gills. Gills won't protect you from being smashed on the reef.
On the sky of heaven.